Good evening. Welcome to the Hurley Investments Market View Commentary for Monday, the 8th of April. My name is Kevin Hurley, and I'm glad to be with you today. We have about 13 of us. I was going to go live, and we're going to have hundreds of us here in the near future. For clientele, this is always free, but we're going to see if we can't help out the investment community. A little something I want to go over today really comes down to 2 points. Trading and what a speculative trade is, because they're very different. Does anyone remember what was my goal, or what have I been doing the last 2.5 weeks? I've been doing something specific. Rich, I have been doing nothing. Nope, that's Rick. Sorry, Rick. Rick, there's a Rich that sometimes attends these as well. So, Rick, I have been doing nothing. That is correct. But why have I been doing nothing, so to speak? That's like partially correct. Why have I been doing nothing? Waiting for China. Bingo. I'm waiting for a China deal. So, in all honesty, right now I am in stock positions without protection. Why am I in it without protection? Can someone tell me? Why do I not have some long put, the right to sell your stock at a certain price for a certain period of time? Perfect. Doug, it's been a while since I've seen you. Welcome back. I don't think I mentioned your name since January. Doug is correct. I'm going to agree with you because I don't want to put well, let me just say it your way. Not good to put bearish positions on bullish stocks. Technically speaking, I don't want a bearish position on a bullish moving stock. That's 100% correct. Now, am I running a risk where on a day like today, some stocks can go down? Most definitely. Most definitely I'm running a risk, but how bad of a risk was it today? Not the worst, right? Definitely not the worst. And if we're looking at today, Baidu took off, Apple took off, Visa. Dang it, why didn't Disney move more? I thought Disney would have been one of my bigger winners. Facebook, Under Armour, Bank of America, Boeing, Disney was down a little bit. For crying out loud. So I can sit through days like today. I'm looking at a 0.5% today on a 0.1% up on the S&P. It was a day that was hard to sit on your hands. At one point, the S&P was down, instead of being up 3.03, it was down about 12-ish as I was watching. So, yes, there are some times when it is painful to sit on your hands. So, someone tell me, what was happening in our market today? What was happening in our market today? Boeing. Of course, Boeing, but give me more than that. What was happening in our market today? if you did any bit of research at the beginning, downgrades. And the downgrades were on Boeing and what was the other big one? Boeing. I want to say Wells Fargo, but I think Wells Fargo was the downgrade. Where is it? It is GE, Boeing and GE. So Boeing and GE got downgrades. So let me ask you a couple questions. Any doubt that Boeing's going to have a profit loss with this quarter and the stopping of making the stopping of the sales of the 737s? Was there any doubt that Boeing would have a profit shortfall today? I see a couple no's going across. Duh. Is there any doubt that General Electric is in problems and that they're fighting as a company to keep some of the best stuff in place? I don't know. It just kind of seems like a no-brainer that they've had issues, right? Duh. Of course there are going to be some problems. Will most likely make itself apparent in the next earnings. One more time, I might say, duh, of course it's going to. So if it's going to, why would you be shocked by an analyst, and why would you be surprised to see, Boeing down a ton? Boeing down, what, $18 when it was all said and done? Well, I'll tell you, it's kind of scary, right? Comment, you can't count a Boeing down. It was ended, yes. But on a downgrade, of course, it's like, boy, analysts, you've just told us something we've known for a month now. Anytime you stop production, there will be a profit loss. This is a no-brainer. And so you scratch your head and you wonder, how dumb are these people? Just saying, right? Just saying. Now, the key is that could be a pretty neat opportunity. Let me see where we're at here. Well, actually, let me go to the second thing I was going to say, and I've teased on this before. Quote, I am willing to own Boeing when it is at, let's say 393, right? When it's at 393, and you might buy in at 390, right? I hear this all the time. I'm willing to own Boeing at this price. I'm willing to own Boeing at usually a cheaper price than where it's currently trading at. So here's the question. Are you willing to own Boeing at 390 when today it's trading at 374.52? Are you willing to own Boeing today at 390 when it's trading at 374.52? So no one's answering anything. And that's a good question, because if someone was to say yes, I might look at you and go, where the hell is your concept of money? Why would you be willing to own something at $390 if it's trading at $374.52? The correct answer there is a resounding hell no. I'm not. Now, someone could have said, well, if I had protection, I might be willing to own it at $390. But you should never be willing to own something at $390 if you can buy it for $374.52. That's a difference of $15.50, $15.48 to be exact. If you can get something $15.48 cheaper, then that's where you should be willing to own it. Be very careful when you think to yourself, I'm willing to own Boeing at $390, especially since it's traded at $444 before. Are willing to own Boeing at $390 if it drops down to $350? You got to be careful. The chart on Boeing looks a little interesting. Interesting enough that I did something that I very rarely, if ever, do. It was in no man's land. It seemed to bounce off of 370. So let me introduce you to a speculative trade. A speculative trade is a trade that you should be willing to lose every penny. It's speculative. It's a flyer. It's not one that you should be doing often. If you're speculative trading your account, we need to have a talk with you. I know a really good advisor. But a speculative trade is a trade that you're taking a flyer on, that you're looking for some nugget of, hey, I know this, we might get a bounce here. So today, it was pretty interesting. When I go to account orders, there were some Boeing trades that were not filled. I kind of like it. We have a limit order that wasn't filled on a 373.80 July. We had a couple that are dollar cost averaging ones that, boy, were filled at 370, now trading at 450. Way to catch a bottom there. I really kind of like this one. This is one of my speculative ones. Traded at 373, currently trading at 450. Now that might change tomorrow. Boeing's down, looks like another $2.34 after hours. But these are some speculative trades. These are some trades that are speculating on a return. And it's kind of interesting because occasionally there are times when if you're speculating to save yourself, go ahead and find a company like some shares of Under Armour. And let me go to a quote of Under Armour really quick. 502 before the market opens. So if I was gonna need to worry about Under Armour, I would probably be looking at some, I only have July options. Yeah, July is probably where I would go. 2174, 2174. Well, I would do this for June, so I'm just going to show you, meaning some speculative, right? If you are speculative, it's not like you can't if you're doing some stock ownership. It's not like you can't set up a trade and say, hey, I want to buy some long puts, where if you use some automation, you can do a quote trigger. You can keep it good until canceled. No spelling. Create a quote trigger, where for me, if Under Armour trades below 21.39, I will trigger an out of the money $21 long put. Kind of a pretty interesting or neat opportunity, neat trade that you can have with Under Armour. Now it's you probably have to do a market order. You'll never get filled at your limit. Create the trigger, less than that. But if you want to be speculative, instead of maybe using a stop loss and getting shaken out, so maybe they will make you do a limit, but I would turn this into a market order tomorrow. There you go. So a lot of people might stick a stop loss in there, which you get shaken out in the morning pretty quickly. You get burned. I would not do that. I would create my protection. Hey, if it falls below a certain price, boom, I've got some protection. That is how I would be looking at trading a speculative position. I'd give myself a bit of a backstop. I would look to have a trigger or contingent order in play to protect myself to the downside. You could also set something like this on for some straight leap long calls positions that you might be in, where if you have Boeing, speculative order, right? Dang, with all honesty, I probably should have got it out of it already. Cost base is 373. I wonder what I could have sold this for. If I was to close this order, well, I'd be happy with 450, right? Kind of interested. I'm looking at it. $0.70 on 370. 70 cents on 370. Being a flyer, I don't have to be stupid, right? No comments there from you. 70 cents divided by 370. It's almost 80 cents. I already have. Boy, I should take a 350 and be good. There we go. Maybe I'll get out of that one tomorrow. So all I'm trying to say and all I want to bring out to you is trade smart. Please don't ever let me hear someone be surprised when we have an analyst that downgrades a stock for something that's been obvious for a month? Don't say you're willing to own a stock at a lower price than it's currently trading. We all know that. The question isn't if you're willing to own it at a lower price than it's trading. The question is, are you willing to own it 20% cheaper than it's trading? And if you are, I'm going to scratch my head unless you don't clarify yourself and say, well, I'd be willing to own it if it's cheaper if I had protection on. And don't hesitate to use some quote triggers. Spend some time looking at and having some quote triggers in place to add protection on. I think a quote trigger to add protection is much more beneficial than a stop loss. A stop loss just books a loss for you, where a quote trigger to add some protection gives you the time to get back into to make a profit. If you ask me where our markets are going to end, I would probably say higher this week. I would say higher because we're bullish, just coming off of obviously on the Dow, the overbought line. But I think we're going to be a little bit bullish running into a China deal that some people think will close today or tomorrow or within a week. NASDAQ always looks the same, but I've seen some good runs in technology. Because of our bullish run and the start of earnings, which I do think will be better than expected, except for General Electric and Boeing, I'd still give us a positive 2.5%. Earnings, I didn't put anything in here. I should have. Earnings. WD-40 company reports tomorrow. Delta Airlines, Bed Bath & Beyond on Thursday. I'm just going off of my planner. I have all this written, or I have it all written down. Fastener reports and Rite Aid reports. And then we have the bigger ones that are more important. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo Company, and PNC. Some big banks. And then next week, I think we start. Next Monday, I will have my pre-list of when we have earnings coming up. All right, let's see. We had factory orders today, which was better than expected. It was only down a negative 0.5 instead of a 0.6. Tomorrow we have the NFIB, small business index, and the JOLTS numbers. Wednesday we have MBA, which is kind of funny because we were up 18.9%, 18.6%. Need to get my glasses on. 18.6% last week. CPI numbers, core CPI numbers. Obviously, inflation is not a big issue right now. Treasury budget. And more importantly, we have the FOMC minutes, which FOMC was extremely dovish. Thursday, initial and continuing claims. We have PPI and core PPI. Inflation does not seem to be an issue right now. And Friday, we have import, export, and the Michigan sentiment numbers. So really, a pretty boring week. We do have internationally, I don't have anything written here, but internationally, our biggest concern is the Brexit and some votes. Nothing that interested me yesterday that I had to worry about or that I saw that I was worrisome about. How am I looking to trade? Again, I'm long for the China deal and next earnings, which I expect better than expected. I will be adding protection on here shortly, but my hope is to add protection on the day of the China deal When we get that big pop, I'm going to throw protection on at that point. Interesting article, Ford gains on Detroit peers. Ford truck sales are doing pretty good. Overall, they were down like 0.1 versus GM's really 7% and 3% for Fiat. It's Ford reports down 1.6. But compared to everyone else, they did excellent. And they had their money makers, SUV and truck sales, that were up versus their car sales where they can't seem to make any money. Goldman gets back in Disney's corner with the Fox deal done. I believe this is where they said the price target of 142. If you do the math, you can actually get to 151.50. A pretty interesting price point there. There's a savings crisis. I just have this in here for you to read on how little people are saving. Have an interesting article in here on the Disney's Day on the 19th for a catalyst. It should be, maybe it is the 11th. I thought it was the 19th. Maybe it's the 11th. Good thing I'm reading it here in front of me. And last but not least, Warren Buffett. Banks will be worth more in 10 years from now. Go Bank of America. And that's what I have for you. What questions do you guys have for me that I can answer? Kind of pretty straightforward. We're just in wait and see mode. But are there any questions you guys have for me that I can answer for you? I'm going to give you a couple seconds here. If not, I'd like to have you guys have a good week. Feel free to attend tomorrow to pick up anything that I've had. The blog site, if you miss any of these sessions, myhurleyinvestment.com is where they're at. Sometimes I'm not able to get these posted right away as they have to be reviewed to make sure I'm, I don't know, not front running money and so forth. So myhurleyinvestment.com, and actually let me get some of this out of the way. There we go. myhurleyinvestment.com. You can pick them all up. I try to have them in order. They've got them listed for years. Some of these go all the way back to 2008. But here they all are. You're here. You got them. We are good to go. So myhurleyinvestment, singular.com. Anything you missed, you're welcome to go back and get them. Good question. Any other questions you guys have? If not, I look forward to seeing you for the trade findings and adjustments tomorrow. Most likely it will be Kiev Bybee. I might be there. But everyone have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you next. Bye-bye.